What's up guys, it's Ed from TechSource, and in this video I'm going to be going over 25 tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your iPhone X. Right off the bat, if you want to quickly glance at your lock screen or check your notifications, you can single tap on the screen to wake the device. Android users have had something like this for years, but this is the first time for iPhone. Speaking of the lock screen, obviously one of the biggest new features on the iPhone X is Face ID, which is how you unlock the device now. It does work pretty quickly in day-to-day use, but if you want it to recognize your face even faster, you can go into your settings, Face ID and passcode, and turn off Require Attention for Face ID. This will make it so that your eyes don't necessarily have to be looking directly at the device to unlock, which should make unlocking a little quicker and easier. And it might also help if you are wearing sunglasses, but keep in mind that disabling this feature will be less secure. Also, from the lock screen, if you receive a notification and just want to check who it's from without fully unlocking the device or opening the app, and Face ID misses you on the first try, you can actually get Face ID to try again by swiping the home bar just a bit. Once Face ID recognizes you, you'll now be able to check who the notification is from. With the lack of a physical home button, swiping up from the bottom acts as the home gesture from any screen now, and tapping the home button used to be how you finished editing the home screen. You can tap done in the top right corner now, but if reaching that is a bit of a stretch, you can also swipe up from the bottom when you are finished as well. On the iPhone X, launching the app switcher can be done using a couple different new gestures, some of which might work a little better for you than others. For example, you can swipe up from the bottom and hold for a second until the phone vibrates, but if you're having trouble nailing that down, you can also swipe up then to the right, which can be a little easier. You can also swipe up from the bottom left corner and diagonally towards the right, which also brings up the app switcher pretty quickly. In order to quit any app you currently have open, it's now a two-step process. You first have to tap and hold on any app until you see the red minus button in the top left corner. You can then tap that button to quit any of the apps or use the old method and swipe them away. What I found really cool about this feature is that you can actually tap in the same exact location multiple times until all the apps are closed. To switch between apps, you can also just swipe left and right on the bottom of the screen near the home button, and you can do this within any app that's open. You can also do it from the home screen, which will bring up the most recent app you had opened. And if you need to quickly switch between two different apps back and forth a few times, you can use this method as your most recently used app is constantly reset. So for example, you can flip between Calculator and Notes as long as you're interacting with each app one after the other. Along with all the new swiping gestures, there's also a few new button combinations on the iPhone X. A single press of the side button will still sleep and wake the device, but since there is no more dedicated home button, a long press of the side button is how you launch Siri. To power off the device, you can hold either the volume up or volume down button, along with the side button, which will bring up the slide to power off. Alternatively, you can power down the device by going to Settings, General, and at the very bottom, you'll see an option to shut down. If you ever find yourself in an emergency situation, you can activate SOS mode by holding down either of the volume buttons and the side button for more than 3 seconds. You can also activate SOS mode by quickly pressing the side button 5 times from any screen. This kicks your phone back to the lock screen and disables Face ID as well. To take a screenshot, the method is the same as previous iPhones, just hold the side button and the volume up button together. Your screenshot will be down in the bottom left corner, and from there you can tap on it to edit, save, or delete it. If you ever run into issues with your iPhone X and need to force it to power off, you can accomplish this by pressing the volume button up, then the volume down button, or vice versa, and then holding the side button for about 12 seconds. This will force the iPhone to shut down and allow you to restart. If you ever need to put the iPhone into DFU mode to restore it in iTunes, first make sure the device is connected to your computer via the lightning cable, and then force it to power off. After the screen goes black, press and hold the volume button down and the side button for about 5 seconds, and then after 5 seconds, release the side button, but keep holding the volume down button. After a few seconds, iTunes should tell you that the iPhone is in DFU mode and you are ready to restore. The new 5.8-inch OLED display on the iPhone X is really nice, but at that size, the aspect ratio is an unusual 19.5 by 9. And because of this, videos tend to play with black bars on either side, and you don't always get to take advantage of that big screen. But you can stretch videos to fill the screen by zooming in. The edge of the video does get cut off a bit, but at least you get to use the entire screen real estate when watching videos. Also, when in landscape mode, the home bar moves to the bottom edge of the screen rather than the usual bottom edge of the screen in portrait mode, and swiping up will bring you back home. Even with that notch at the top of the screen, you can still tap the top edge of the display to quickly scroll to the top of any page, just like any other iPhone. The top of the screen is also where you can access the notification center. Pulling down from anywhere in the middle or left corner of the screen will bring that down, and you can view any notifications you have. Pulling down from the top right corner of the screen, on the other hand, is how you can access Control Center. And you'll notice that inside the Control Center is where you'll find the battery percentage. There's no longer any way to get it to display in the status bar like before, which is a little inconvenient. So inside the Control Center, you can 3D touch on many of the icons to expand them and get more options. For example, you can adjust the brightness of the flashlight, automatically set timers, enable night shift or true tone, all directly inside the Control Center. You can also completely customize the icons in the Control Center and add more icons from other apps, or you can even just gain access to some of your frequently used options. To do this, go into the settings, then the Control Center, and from here you can reorder the icons, delete some of the default ones, or add anything new. One thing I do recommend adding to the Control Center is screen recording. With that added, you can now record anything on your iPhone screen, and when you're done, just tap on the red button at the top left corner, and the recording will automatically be saved to your camera roll. Even though the iPhone X is quite a bit smaller than the iPhone 8 Plus, it can still sometimes be tough to reach the top corners of the screen, especially Control Center. Luckily, you can enable the reachability feature from the iPhone 8 Plus on the iPhone 10. To do this, just go into the settings, then the general and accessibility tab, and you can turn that on over here. Once you're done, you can simply swipe down on the home bar and your screen will shift down to allow you to reach the top. This is super helpful for gaining access to the notification center and the Control Center, as you will now just need to swipe down from about halfway up the screen to get them rather than reaching all the way to the top. It might take some getting used to, but after you master it, it does become easy to use. And finally, if you ever find yourself having a hard time adjusting to some of the new swiping gestures on the iPhone X, you can sort of get back the older home button from previous iPhones using the Assistive Touch. Under Settings, General, and Accessibility, you can turn on Assistive Touch, which will add a new on-screen button. You can also customize the button with a lot of different options. For example, you can have a single tap to be your home button, and a double tap for multitasking, and a long press for Siri. And that will pretty much give you the same feel as the old home button. What's also cool is that you can also move the Assistive Touch button anywhere on the screen for better access to it. And that pretty much wraps up this video on my 25 tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your iPhone 10. If this was at all helpful to you guys, dropping a like would be really awesome and I would appreciate it. And if you guys didn't like it, feel free to dislike as well. That's cool too. And let me know if you guys really enjoy these types of videos in the comment section. If so, I will continue to bring them to the channel. Thanks again so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.